Hello, sir. Good evening.
Hello, nice to meet you. It's,
Definitely. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing very, very well. Thank you.
We have Mr. Praveen Parameshwar, who's the CEO, and Rahul Jain Iyer, who's a psychologist, and also he heads the Dubai operations with us. So it's a great pleasure to see you. We have Dr. John Gray. When men are from Mars and women are from Venus, Dr. John Gray is on Earth building bridges between the heavenly bodies and inspires us to make marriages and relationships build bridges in heaven. As an ardent admirer of you, let me proudly proclaim what I have told Indian audience for the past 20 years of my career as a lecturer. If there is a book that every human being should read after their own respective holy books, it is Dr. John Gray's Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. I am one of the greatest admirers of you, along with many other millions who has been personally benefited and radiated your teachings across various Indian universities. And Lifeology is proud to host you.
Well, you see, my face is all turning red. I feel your warmth and affection and appreciation for me, and it's made my day. I'm very grateful. Very kind words. I can see the light inside of you, and I'm so humbled to know that I helped light part of that light. So thank you. Thank you for appreciating the work that I do. And I know you said that you wanted me to talk a bit about parenting today, and I'm happy and eager to look at the questions people have. I want to respond. I also know that my most important message is your children will be happier, more confident, more successful if they experience mother and father loving each other. That's the most important thing. Now, if you're a divorced, children need to know mother has a boyfriend or another husband who makes her happy. A boy should see that a man can help a woman feel happy. And a girl should see that a man can help a mother be happy. She needs to know I can trust men. And a boy needs to know I can help a woman be happier. And we have to recognize as adults, our job is not to make each other happy, but to take our gifts to our partner to make them happier. And it's my Indian tradition, being a student of meditation and celibate for 9 years. The foundation that allows me to teach these ideas is knowing that happiness comes from inside and outside. But if you don't have it inside, the outside can never make us happy. So our children, when our children grow up and we see our mothers not happy, a little boy will feel, oh, I will do whatever I can to make my mother happy. But if she's not happy, the boy will feel I'm not good enough. And throughout his life, when things don't go right, he feels like, oh, I'm just bad. I'm not good enough. Or when he grows up and he's in a relationship and the partner's unhappy, he will feel, oh, I'm not good enough. But then he goes, but I am good enough. It's your fault. And so when he grows up, he will then blame. And our power from the spiritual Vedic tradition of India is that the happiness starts inside. But we don't always get that because as children, we grow up and we see that we can't make our parents happy. A child's job is not to make the parents happy. Okay? That's not their job. Their job is to learn how to be happy. And so many parents, to control their children because they don't know good communication skills. They say, oh, if you don't do that, it doesn't make me happy. You make me so unhappy. I'm your mother. I do so much for you. I do this. I bore you in my birth, a painful birth because for you. And this is how you treat me. It's not about, don't take it so personally with your children. Our job as parents is unconditional love to our children. When our children reach 21 years old, we say to them, now you're grown up. I just want you to know, I set you free. You're not responsible for me. Being your parent is the greatest joy of my life. You owe me nothing. Now, of course, the child will then go, oh, I'll always take care of you, my parents. I love you. But not from the place of, it's my job. I have to do. It's because I want to do. It's very important that we learn how to find our happiness without depending on our children. Although our children giving unconditional love will make us happy. but it shouldn't be our children are the source of our happiness. Just as in our marriages, we shouldn't blame our partners whenever we're unhappy. But we do. We do because we're out of balance. We haven't learned how to find that happiness inside. And so a lot of my work today is all the Men Are From Mars concepts. I've now, after 25 years, my most recent book, these are all my children of books over here, besides my other children. 28 books I've written over the years on all kinds of personal growth things, even some books on meditation. I'm so grateful for what I learned from my Indian teachers. But we have to really upgrade our parenting skills. One of my books is Children Are From Heaven, communication skills. So we have old-fashioned communication skills, just like we have old-fashioned relationship skills. They're out of date. You know, when it used to be the man does his job and the woman takes care of the children. And that's very separate worlds. Now, if women are out making money on her own, and this is what's happening in India with so much opportunity, women are becoming more independent, more freedom. And so, oh, I don't have to depend on a man anymore. I can do myself. I can do myself. That produces in her testosterone. That's male hormone. Men need 10 times more. They need 20 times more to fall in love. Women need more estrogen. Estrogen is when you feel, I depend on you. I need you. I have you. I can ask for help and I can get it. That makes women happy. Estrogen. And for a woman to fall in love, she needs double the estrogen of normal life. That's if a man can make her happier, but he can't make her happy. She has to find in her life the things that bring up her estrogen. And giving love to your children can increase your estrogen if you're happy. But whenever you feel, oh, I have to do this, life is a burden, I have to do this, that feeling I have to do, that increases too much testosterone. That's good for men. When I get up in the morning, I have to get up, I have to make the money, you know, I have to do the job. Otherwise, if I don't have to do it, I become lazy. All men are lazy. we are lazy, that's who we are. Women, they work too much. They're always busy, 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 busy. Our nature is to be lazy. Never do anything I don't have to do. We have a gene that says, don't do anything if you don't have to do it. Another way of looking at that gene is efficiency. What's the easiest way to get, the fastest way, the most cost-efficient way? Whereas for women, they don't have that. They love giving and giving and giving, but it's not easy for them to receive. They don't know how to receive. Men, we know how to receive. Oh, you do it for me? That's great. Oh, you cook for me? That's great. Oh, you do that for me? That's great. But if a man receives more than he gives, he becomes more lazy. So we have the work world where you have to get up there. You have to do the job. Unfortunately, today, some boys are growing up with wealthy parents. They don't feel I have to work. That's very hard on a boy. He has to experience that I have to do certain things to get love, to be successful, to achieve, to accomplish. They need more education. They need more challenges. But we know scientifically, and this is, you have to understand this. Rockefeller, the first billionaire in America, he wrote a book, and it basically of boys, not girls, but boys who are the children of wealthy men. And what they found is they tend to become playboys. That was an old-fashioned phrase, playboy. That means everything is about me and having fun and doing what I want and throwing tantrums, like being a child grown up, because they never had to earn their way. And then there's the other side of poverty. Poverty is really hard on everybody, of course, but what it does for men is when a man works, or he doesn't have a job to work, then he doesn't get rewarded for it. He needs to feel rewarded for what he does. So boys need to be giving challenges. You say, this is what I want you to do. And if they do it, then you give them a lot of appreciation. The old way of school, the old school is don't appreciate your children and they'll work harder. Oh, you're not so good. You're not so good. That's the old way of parenting. It doesn't work. It lowers the self-esteem. But then the modern way of parenting is your children don't do anything. And you say, oh, I love you so much anyway. You're so great. You're so wonderful. I give you a prize for doing nothing. You want ice cream? I'll give you ice cream. I do whatever you like. And then the child goes, I don't get what I want. They throw big tantrums. They get upset. They become mean. They become unhappy. They're spoiled. Is that on one side, you give too much, they become spoiled. You punish too much, they become low self-esteem. What is the middle ground? Well, part of the middle ground is they see mom and dad always saying good things about each other. That's very important. Now, what we know now scientifically is, remember I said, when a woman is happy, her estrogen 10 times higher than a man's. When a man is happy and giving, his testosterone 10 times higher than a woman. Now, part of how I learned this is through meditation and the whole Vedic tradition, and the whole meditation tradition and spirituality is about learning to meditate. One part of it is devotion, service. Another part of it is relax, forget all your problems. So I have the ability, after my 9 years of celibacy, not depending on anybody to make me happy, but depending on myself. That's masculine energy. So when Bonnie, my wife of 34 years, when she would upset me, I could say, oh, I need some time to think about this. And then I would go and meditate. And because I'm good at meditation, I could restore my testosterone levels. Meditation increases testosterone in men. That's why women often find it very hard to meditate, because testosterone is not the hormone they need the best. But men need to learn some way to rebuild their testosterone. Because when a man doesn't have self-esteem, he doesn't have confidence, he doesn't have leadership, he doesn't have opportunity, he doesn't get paid for his work, or he's out of work, he has no way to build his testosterone. So then what happens is his estrogen goes high. Estrogen's a female hormone. So what happens? He argues, he gets angry, he throws tantrums. He's like a big baby boy, demanding. He becomes self-centered and he becomes violent. Men only become violent when their estrogen is too high and their testosterone is too low. Now, if you know anything about science and hormones, everyone for many, many years thought testosterone in men causes violence. Actually, it's not that. It's low self-esteem. It's when a man doesn't feel confident that he can be successful and make a difference, that his testosterone goes down, the estrogen goes up, and he becomes emotional. So what Buddha taught, for example, is forget your problems. Shankara taught, forget your problems. Narayanam, forget, meditate. You know, all these great beings, sages, are all about find inner peace, find inner peace. How do you find inner peace? You temporarily forget your problems. Well, this is built into men. You see, if a man has permission to be a man, if he works hard, he needs some time to forget his problems. Now, maybe he doesn't know how to meditate, but he could have a hobby. He could play a game. He could have, maybe he does something, he does exercise, or he wants to watch TV for a while. Anything that will help him to forget his problems is kind of like meditation. And what it will do, if he forgets his problems, then his testosterone has a chance to come back up, because he uses it up during the day. And then he can be helpful to the family. That's where he gets his energy. So he needs to work hard, rest hard, relax, and then give to his family. Now, women don't understand this. So he goes inside and she goes, he doesn't love me. Why doesn't he talk to me? What happened? What's the matter? Why are you ignoring me? And she takes it personally, because she feels if you're not like me, then you don't love me. Because if a woman is mad at her husband, she will not talk. She will ignore him. But see, men can ignore their wives, not because they're mad at their wives, because they need to come back to making testosterone. If they have a conversation with their wife, if they listen to her feelings, their estrogen goes up. And already they need to lower their estrogen and raise their testosterone. And talking, this is what we now know. If you're upset about something, if you're feeling stressed, frustrated, disappointed, worried, concerned, unhappy, any of those kinds of feelings, angry, scared, those are stress. That's stressful emotions. If you're a woman and you talk about them with somebody who can hear you and doesn't argue with you, then your body will make more estrogen and your stress level will go down. And then your brain will work better and you realize it's not such a big deal. No problem. That's the woman's way to do it. That's estrogen goes up if you talk about your feelings. But the man, he doesn't need more estrogen. If men are emotional and they talk, they only become more emotional. And the more men become emotional, negative emotions become more and more. We now know that that's associated with low testosterone and high stress hormones. So by talking to your wife and arguing with her, what's going to happen is your stress levels just go higher and higher and higher. And she doesn't understand men. So she'll engage in the conversation. Why do you say that? And but what are you going to do about that? But why would you do that? Because her instinct, if I can get him to talk, his estrogen will go up and he'll feel better. Because if somebody listened to her, her estrogen would go up and she'd feel better. Now, the problem here is that women, if they express positive emotion or negative emotion, doesn't matter, estrogen gets produced. And estrogen is very important for her happiness. But if she talks about her emotions and her partner feels like, you know, you're complaining about me, his testosterone will go down. He'll get defensive. He'll argue. And as soon as he starts to argue, her testosterone goes up. And now her stress goes back up. But her brain remembers that if I complain, if I argue, my estrogen will go up. And a brain produces another brain chemical called dopamine. Now, this is proven in MRI scans. When you have an addiction, say cocaine addiction, not a good thing, right? Cocaine addiction or alcohol addiction. A certain part of the brain lights up, becomes very active. When women complain, that part of the brain lights up. Complaining is an addiction. And the more you do it, the more addicted you are to it. And the only solution to it is stop complaining, but instead talk about your emotions to somebody that you're not trying to change. Then it's not a complaint. You see, if I complain to you, let's say I'm in a restaurant. It's a good point. If I'm in a restaurant and the soup is cold, and I say to you, my friend, hey, is your soup cold? You say, yeah. I said, well, this is kind of expensive soup. This should be a better restaurant than this. I can't believe they have this. We're just sharing, right? We're just talking. Then I might say, waiter, I want to talk to the manager. The soup is cold. That's a complaint. Before, I'm just sharing. So it all has to do with your intention. If I'm telling you what I feel because I want you to change, I will become addicted to negativity. If I tell you how I feel and I don't want you to change, then I'm not addicted to it. It's amazing. This is why in America, more people go to counselors than doctors.